Welcome to the Vandal Insider Podcast, presented by Inland Orthopedic Surgery and Sports Medicine Clinic of Moscow and Pullman. Let the team that takes care of the Vandals take care of you. Get the latest information on University of Idaho athletics you won't find anywhere else. It's all here on the Vandal Insider Podcast, every fan source for all things Idaho athletics. Here's your host, Dennis Patchin.
Welcome to another edition of the Idaho Vandal Insider Podcast. Coming up on this week's edition, we'll talk with Vandals head coach Thomas Ford Jr. about the win over Portland State this past Saturday as the Vandals snapped a 4-game losing streak. We'll also hear from receiver Marquawn McCraney as the Vandals will get ready for a Friday night game in Flagstaff. Vandals Director of Athletics Terry Gawlik joins us. We talk betting and the impact it can have on college athletics. We'll also talk about opting in or opting out and what that means for college athletics and the University of Idaho. Also joining us this week will be Sarah Brans from the women's basketball team. They'll open up the season Monday against Washington State. And soccer coach Jeremy Clevenger returns. We'll talk Big Sky soccer tournament that his team has qualified coming up in about a week. Saturday, the Idaho Vandals picked up a much-needed win, a 45-6 win over Portland State. The win marked the return of Joshua Wood at quarterback, who threw for 4 first-half touchdowns.
Wood calling signals. 3 receivers to the right. That's the short side. They're going to hand it off to Cummings. They're going to flip it back. Woods is going to have it on the double reverse. He throws the deep ball wide open. It is caught. Touchdown, Idaho. Wood looks to pass. End zone throw. Got McCraney. Did he catch it? Did he hang on? Touchdown, Idaho. So look in the end zone. Throw it. Emerson Cortez Menjivar caught it. And what a catch it was. He had to turn around and grab it. Steps into the end zone. Touchdown, Idaho.
One of the scoring throws was to Eli Cummings, who combined for 165 yards of total offense, and including an amazing, an electrifying 64-yard play.
Tighter formation. Portland State showing blitz. They bring 6. Wood. Screen pass. Great call. Eli Cummings to the left side, down the sideline to the 50, to the 40, cuts it back to the numbers, spins away from a defender. He crosses the 25, stumbles across the 20 to the 15. He's got to score. Eli Cummings. Are you kidding me?
The Vandals scored 6 touchdowns, 5 of those through the air. One of those, Rocco Koch's first ever completion.
Koch and Kinslow, Killer K's. Koch's going to throw the ball to Jake Cox. Are you kidding me? Touchdown, Idaho. Rocco Koch, first touchdown pass is a Vandal. And the Vandal sideline is going wild on a 43-yard trick play.
But the defense was just as good as the offense.
3 receivers to the left. Smith flushed out of the pocket. Brown almost had him, and it's intercepted. It's picked off by Deuce Blenman. Credit Sam Brown. The pressure forced Smith to throw it up, and yet another turnover by Portland State. 3 to the left, 2 to the right, ball in the right hash. Smith takes a snap, 1 step, straight ahead run. He's going to run into a Vandal nut. He didn't get there. He's short. Matthias McLean makes the play, and the Vandals dial it up on 4th down and turn it over on down. Vandals bring the blitz here. Sagapulatelli steps up to avoid it, throws it down the near sidelines, and it is intercepted by the Vandals. Idaho comes up with a play, and that's Isaiah Bivens. Looks like he might take off and run with it. He's going to be dropped down. Titus Regner will drop him for a loss. That will go as a sack, and the Vandals turn it over on downs one more time.
For head coach Ford, it was great to get the win, but even better in how they got it.
We really put together a good game where we all played well at the same time. Offense, defense, special teams. Really excited for all the fans that came out. Really want to give a shout out to our Vandal fans. It was awesome to be back in the Dome, and glad that you guys all got to see a really good performance by the boys.
A lot of reasons Idaho played its most complete game of the year. It started on the offensive side of the ball with the return of 2 key players.
Getting Joshua Wood and Eli Cummings back healthy changes our team, and I think you saw that. Joshua threw 4 touchdown passes in a little over half a work. Turb had 100 yards receiving, 65 yards rushing, had a touchdown in both areas. And so having those guys back healthy was huge.
We've seen it before how good this Vandal offense can be with a healthy Wood at control. And Ford said he proved it again.
Schematically, you can do some things a little bit differently with a guy that's got a few more reps. And I think our passing game really changes when we have him. Joshua really can make all the throws. I think he's very, very good in the pocket. Sometimes everyone talks about his running ability, but they forget about the subtle, small movements within the pocket that I think that's where he really excels. And he extends the play without having to actually move from the pocket. So I think that really changes our offense in terms of our pass game, having him available.
When you go a while without a victory, it can be tough. But a win like the one that the Vandals got over Portland State will help for the last 4 games of the year.
Well, it just reminds them that the process is working, right? Their hard work isn't going unrewarded. And I think those things that we talked about, staying together as a team, you feeling confident because we're prepared and executing, all those things just kind of magnify when, you do those things on the weekend and you get a win on Saturday. So I definitely think it helps the momentum and getting these guys to remember how good we really are and how good we've been really most of the season. And getting a big win like that definitely helps.
Idaho looks for its first road win of the season as the Vandals head to Flagstaff to take on 19th-ranked Northern Arizona, a team Ford says is really good.
Well, you got to prepare for a little bit of everything. They got a really good quarterback. He is talented. He can do it on the ground. He can throw it. They've got some really talented running backs. I think their receiver, number 11, has made a bunch of plays this year. And defensively, they do some different things. They're very non-traditional, I would say, defensively. They walk a ton of dudes up on the line of scrimmage. I mean, there's some plays where it looks like punt block out there when we're playing when we're on offense, they're playing defense. So they just definitely do some unique things that we're definitely going to have to scheme up. But every preparation week's a little bit different. But I definitely think they do some things that are just a little bit outside the box that we got to prepare for.
It's hard enough to play a team like NAU. It's even harder to play it on the road. But the short week just adds to the difficulty of this one.
It definitely changes some things. It condenses your preparation time. You've got a full day less. We normally don't meet at all on Mondays, and now we're practicing on Mondays. So, you've got to do a little bit more digging in terms of what's going to be good for us as opposed to what's good against them. What are we really good at? And I think it really kind of forces you to shrink your menu a little bit, right? You've got to be a lot more detailed in what you're doing. You just can't do quite as much because you don't have as many practice reps. And then obviously the physical toll, right? Those guys are used to having a full day off on Monday, and now they're going to work. Now, they did have Sunday night off, so we tried to balance it a little bit, but the short turnaround definitely has an effect on the preparation and just the physical preparation for their guys too.
A short week, a long trip, a tough opponent. Even though the Vandals are 0-4 on the road this year, they like the way they've been ready to play away from the Kibbie Dome.
I think they're very focused. When we travel, those guys are very, very focused on their job. They're not there for a fun trip. It's a business trip for those guys, and we really have done a good job in that respect. Obviously we haven't won a road game this season yet, but I think the focus has always been there, and I think the guys really like being that kind of like us against the world mentality when we go on the road.
This Idaho Vandal Insider podcast is presented by England Orthopedic Surgery and Sports Medicine Clinic of Moscow and Pullman. As the Vandals team physician, orthopedic surgeon Dr. Matt Taylor cares for elite athletes, weekend warriors, and everyone in between. Let the team that takes care of the Vandals take care of you. Welcome back to the Idaho Vandal Insider Podcast. We are now joined by redshirt freshman receiver from Highline High School out of SeaTac, Washington, Marquawn McCraney. Thanks for being here. How are you?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I'm good.
We appreciate it. I want to know about wearing the number 0. How did that come about? Did you pick that, or was that given to you?
I mean, I picked it. It was coming in last year. Coach Eck, he had texted me over the phone. It was random. One random day, he texted me. He was like, "Hey, we got you coming in next year. What number would you like?" And I gave him like 3 options. I said 7 because that's the number I wore in high school. 0, the number I wore in basketball for high school, and then I said 13 just because it's a nice looking number. And he said, no one's in 0, so we can get you in 0. So I kind of just, it's what it's been. But, when I first came in, I was thinking like, oh, as fast as possible, switch back to 7. But as I spent more time here, I kind of like, well, let me develop this new identity for myself and be 0. I wore 7 all 4 years of high school, and now I'm in, the next level. I'm at that college level now, so let me just, wear 0. And 0 is a cool looking number in my opinion. I feel like it's one of the best ones on the field. So I was like, let's just stay with 0, and 0 kind of sucks in.
I always ask that, and as the radio guy, I always appreciate guys who don't change their numbers from year to year, because you to me is 0, and if you're here for 3 more years after this year and you still wear 0, then it's like, okay, I don't even have to remember anything. But when guys start changing numbers, it's a little crazy.
I mean, I definitely understand that, but like, you have to know, some guys want to get smaller numbers. They didn't come in with the number they wanted or the number they came in out of high school. Like, some guys do want to get back to their high school number, which is totally understandable. Like, I feel like if I didn't get a number like 0 coming out of the first year, I probably would have tried to get back to 7 or something smaller too if I came in with a different number.
Yeah, so I'm guessing you're not an 80s receiver number guy, right?
No. It's possible I would like to be in single digit, but I mean, honestly, it doesn't really matter. It depends on how you make it look. I feel like we have a couple receivers that wear, 80 numbers, and the jerseys don't look that bad. It's all how you make it look.
Yeah. Well, I've always said you should be able to wear any number you want, except for defensive linemen should not have single-digit numbers, okay? Big guys don't look good with single-digit numbers. I'm just saying you need at least 2 numbers on that jersey. Apparently you don't have a comment on that? You don't want to say that? Are you in agreement with me?
I'm not at that position, so I can't.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with it. I feel like, we definitely got some guys on our team down the D-line that got single-digit numbers. And
Maurice Himes does not look good in 5, to me, in my opinion. Now, if he had like 17 or 32.
Yeah. That is a big guy. That is a big guy to be in a single-digit number, but I mean.
It is. You're taking the high road here. I'm not taking the high road. How was you didn't play last year?
No, not a whole bunch.
How was that?
It definitely was an adjustment. Like, for sure for me, just coming in, like, in my high school, we were 2A, so we weren't one of the bigger conferences. So like our league wasn't really good, and so I kind of sit out in the league on my team and everything. So like I was kind of coming in from being the star player coming out of high school. And then when you get to college, though, like you learn that it's a whole new experience, right? It's just a faster pace. Guys are bigger, faster, stronger. Everybody's there for the same reason. So like, understandable why I didn't play. Like I definitely don't think like when I came in last year, I was ready physically or mentally to be playing at the college level. Like, at least not as much as I am now. So I feel like, it was a good year to step back and learn and develop. I feel like that's what I did the most. I spent most of my time trying to develop my game, talking to some of the older guys on the offense, older receivers and everything, and even talking to like the guys on the defense I was going against in the scout team, like asking them like, hey, what are you seeing from a DB standpoint, like that as a receiver I need to work on? I feel like that's what helped me the most. And so it definitely was a challenge mentally, because like when you go from I played every single game all 4 years of high school to you not touching the field at all, it definitely was a change. But I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, if you want it bad enough, if you really love the game like you say you do, then you're going to do whatever you can to put your head down and work to get back to that place. And I feel like that's one of the things I did the best.
You understood it, but that still didn't make it easier standing on the sidelines, did it?
Definitely not.
Were you a 3-sport guy in high school?
I was.
Okay, so you're playing all year long.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you get here and now it's Saturday afternoon and no 0 out there.
No 0 out there. I mean, yeah, the cool thing about it though is like it didn't hurt as much for me, because like to know that my team like was going out there, like guys that were out there that were working hard just as hard as me were out there, helping us win, right? And I feel like that's the biggest thing for me, and what I want to like happen at this program is just do whatever I can to help the team win. So if that's me being on the scout team, me having to be on the sideline, someone else that's ahead of me going out there and doing that, then that's what have to happen. If it's me, then I'll go out there and make it happen.
And as painful as it was to be a true freshman and not playing very much, it's going to be 17 times better for you as a redshirt senior playing all the time, right?
Yeah.
So, you did the right thing, you learned, and now you're going to be able to take advantage of it.
Yeah, and I feel like, capitalizing on that extra year I get, using that 1 year to develop, and then these next 4 years I got to, try to rattle as much, hard work and winning and stat building.
You didn't get to start the season because you were hurt.
Yes,
you got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So how frustrating was that? I mean, you work, but you don't get to play last year, and all of a sudden now you can't even work.
Yeah, no, that was a different challenge too. Like, I feel like one of the things that I like about my college experience so far is I came in with a lot of different like challenges that I had to face like right away, right? Like my first one was coming in from being a star player in high school to not playing at all, and so that was a challenge I had to face. And then my next one was once I was put in a position and maybe had the chance to start playing the next season, I got injured right in the spring ball, right before the spring game. So it's like it was all these battles, but I feel like my thing and one thing I try to do, like be around the guys and everything, is just be a positive source. Like when I was hurt, I wasn't negative about it. I wasn't, walking around the dome, the KB with my head down or anything like that. I was in here, and I mean, you could ask any of the guys. I'm in here in the weight room, working, doing my best to get back, doing whatever I can to try to help the team. That's like I said, that's really one of my main focuses, trying to help the team as much as possible. And so I feel like it was hard. That injury definitely did it had a couple setbacks, and I feel like at first when I did, I was like, I didn't know what it was going to be like coming back, right? Because I never, all through high school, I'd never been seriously injured like that. Like I'd never had a broken bone, never tore anything, never had to get surgery. So that was the first time I had to ever get surgery. So that was also a different challenge as well, having to go with that. And surgery does hurt, and that's one thing I learned. It does hurt. It's a lot of pain, the recovery and everything. But if you choose to look at it in the face and just face it without don't be no negative. I feel like one thing I try to do is not go into any of my days of my surgery and my rehab negative, right? Just going and getting it done, because at the end of the day, I'm gonna have to do it regardless. I might as well do it with the attitude that I want to do it rather than dreading doing it. So I feel like that was one of my biggest things.
Let's hope somebody isn't going to have their knee scoped listening to our podcast today, and you're saying it hurts, and it's like the guy, their gal, turns around and drives back home. They don't want to do it.
Nah.
You exploded, and I just absolutely exploded in that game with over 100 yards and a touchdown.
Mm.
What was that feeling like?
Well, I'm a guy from Washington, so it felt good to go back, and not necessarily in my part of Washington, but to go back in the state of Washington, that feeling, that weather, to go out there and play out in front of that crowd. That was the first time I had my mom come out to a game, so it's kind of special too for me in my own way to have that happen. So I mean, it felt good. It felt like just getting back to what I was used to doing, going out there playing. One of the biggest things I feel like I was told a lot, when I was on the sideline, was when you're in the game, the crowd and the all the things outside of the game, those are going to be big factors. And I feel like when I went into that game, it was radio silent for me. That's what it felt
really?
like. Yeah, I feel like, and that's really what it feels like most of the time I go on the field. When I'm out there, I tune out the noise and I just focus on, what the play is. I'm in the huddle, hear the play call, and then once I line up out there, it's got to be earmuffs, because if it's not, then those things can start to affect you and how you play. And I feel like in order to be the best player that you can be in any given moment, you have to be 100% focused on the task at hand. So I try to tune out all the noise and try to silence the crowd in my own head to get that done.
Anybody sitting in the stands has no idea how you do that. How do you make it go silent?
It's really a matter of we've been talking about this kind of idea for the last couple weeks, and it's really just a flow state, right? Just trying to get to that state of mind where when you're out there playing, when you're out there doing things, it's second nature. You're not thinking about doing it, you're just doing it, right? And so it's one of the things that, especially coming off that bye week, we were our big thing was, how can we get better? How can we get back to that state of mind where we're playing Vandal football in that flow state, right? And so I feel like that was one of the moments where I reached that flow state where when I'm on the field and everything goes quiet and I'm just locked in the zone, and that's what it was.
Was football your best sport? Be honest.
People would probably say it was my best sport. I personally think I'm better at basketball.
Okay.
But people might disagree with me on that one too. But
what's the most points you scored in a high school game?
I think 25.
Okay.
Was the most I scored. But in a game in general, AAU ball, the most I scored in a game was 40. So I was getting buckets when I was playing basketball. But it's actually a funny story. When I was 8th grade going into high school, I thought I was going to quit football and just do basketball. Because I was like, going to high school, like, this is when sports get serious. You need to focus on one thing. And so, I was telling my mom, I was telling my uncles, all my family, I was like, I'm going to quit football. I'm just going to do basketball. That's what I'm going to focus on. That's what I want to play. And they're like, if you did that, that'd be silly. They'd be like, that'd be dumb. Like, why would you do that? Because you're such a good football player. I'm like, well, I know I need to focus on one sport. How can I, like, focus on basketball, which is what I want to play if, you know, I'm doing football? And they're like, so what I was told was just to try out both sports your freshman year, whatever one you like more. That's the one you stick to. So that's what I did. In this high school football season or high school seasons for sports, football comes first. So that's what I did first. And I ended up going to the tryout for the basketball team that year, but I didn't even end up staying on the team. I was like, it doesn't give me the same feel football did. So it was also at the same time during like a 7-on-7 season because of COVID. It pushed back all the sports seasons. Right. So basketball was during 7-on-7 season. So I decided to do that because I was like, I'm focusing on football instead.
What was your spring sport?
I did a mixture of baseball and track. So my freshman year and junior year I did baseball, and then sophomore year and senior year I did track.
Man, you had no time, did you?
Nah, I was the guy that liked to keep busy, stay active. I mean, also those things, like, believe it or not, like this when people say all the sports like they correlate, they really do. Like basketball helps so much with football and your agility and your ability to cut left and right because you're doing so much change of direction, so much running in basketball. Like that's what it's about. And then in baseball, for me at least, like so I played receiver in football and safety in high school, and so when I was out there, I played center fielder. So it was like the same thing, going and tracking the ball in the air, going running it down, making the catch. And so it's kind of thing, it's something I was already good at. So kind of just took my skills from football, and it worked. I mean, I got first team outfielder in baseball.
You grew up in Seattle. Were you a Mariner fan?
Oh, yeah. Go Mariners.
Okay, so how bad was a couple weeks ago?
It was – so I'm not as much of a baseball fan as I am a football fan, so I wasn't as hurt that day because the Seahawks also won big that day, so I wasn't too upset about it. But like, also like it would have been nice to see my franchise go to the World Series for the first time ever. But I mean, maybe next year.
You're young enough. You got time. A lot of people my age don't have much time.
Yeah, hopefully I can see him at least sometime.
Hopefully getting there soon. How did Idaho become the place for you to play your college athletics? What was it about here that you said, I want to go there?
My recruitment process was a really difficult and confusing one, but the short answer is Coach T. Ford actually was the guy that recruited me at high school. At first, when he was at UW, my freshman year in high school, he invited me up to my first ever like visit to any college at UW, and so I went up there, and I had already known him because I did FSP, which is like the program his brother
right.
runs. So I already had a relationship with him for years, and so when he brought me up there, we kind of we established our connection there. And then when he came here the next year, I was being recruited by some Power 5 schools and everything at the safety position, but I always knew that I wanted to play receiver, right? Like even though knowing safety was an option, I knew I wanted to play receiver, and so I seen Coach Ford at a camp, and I kind of just told him like, hey Coach, I know that we got a lot of schools looking at me to play safety, but I want to play receiver. If you guys can give me a chance at receiver, then that would be great. I'd love to go and play receiver. And so I ended up coming down to a camp that summer, my sophomore year. Had a good camp, got the scholarship, and then my senior year of high school, before I was committed, when Coach Ford had left to go to Oregon State to get the job, the person that he recommended to replace him was my high school head coach at running back. Yep. So my high school head coach, Coach Deontay Cooper, when he came in last year, that was my head coach from high school. So when he came in, it kind of like made it all more convincing, like maybe I should go there. And then to have Coach Ford come back, being the guy that recruited me here and everything, it kind of was just a full circle moment. So, I mean, like I said, a really long, confusing reason why I'm here, but I'm glad I'm here.
Sometimes things happen for a reason.
Absolutely.
So the other thing is, I know why you're not playing safety is because you can catch the ball. Mm-hmm. Safeties, most guys who play safety are guys, they're there because they can't catch the ball.
Yeah. I mean, I won't say all safeties. Like, I mean, there's a pretty good amount of safety that probably can catch the ball. It's just like maybe they don't have as good as ball skills as receivers. that might be the problem. That might be the problem.
Marquawn, we appreciate the time. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Good luck the rest of the season, and we appreciate you sharing some of your life with us here.
All right, thank you.
It's a short week for Idaho football as the Vandals will try and keep their playoff hopes alive, heading to Flagstaff for a Halloween night showdown in the Big Sky Conference. Our coverage with Northern Arizona and Idaho will start at 6:30 Pacific time, 7:30 Mountain. Our pregame show kickoff 1 hour later, 7:30 Pacific, 8:30 Mountain on your favorite Idaho Vandal radio station. This Idaho Vandal Insider podcast is presented by Inland Orthopedic Surgery and Sports Medicine Clinic of Moscow and Pullman. When he's not caring for the Vandals as team physician, orthopedic surgeon Dr. Matt Taylor provides the same MVP orthopedic care to our entire region. At Inland Orthopedics, our team is your team.
Welcome back to the Idaho Vandal Insider Podcast. We are now joined by University of Idaho Director of Athletics, Terry Gawlik. I appreciate you being here. We get to talk for 3 or 4 minutes every week, but I try to do this once a month with you where we can get into more in-depth things, and I really appreciate you taking the time and just kind of letting us pick your brain, because there's so many questions out there about college athletics that we didn't have 5-10 years ago.
Sure, not a problem. I love talking about what I love, collegiate athletics and the student-athlete experience, and it's very crazy right now. No times like the present.
Before we started this interview, you and I were talking about the wild months. Yours is October because of all your meetings. Mine is November because basketball starts at the same time football is going on. But if you have a passion for what you're doing, it doesn't seem like monotony or drudgery, does it?
It's not monotony or drudgery, but as I told you, next year I'm going to prep my mind for, in October I got to get ready because that's my go month. And it's, a lot of, not just the sports, but I've got these national committees I'm on, and then the Big Sky meets in October. So I was gone more than I was home this past month.
Wow. Well, let's talk a little bit about some of the things that the Big Sky is talking about, because it's always fascinating to talk to you every time you come back from a Big Sky meeting, because there's always things that are appearing, but there's always things that pop up. And one of those certainly is the gambling situation, where now the NCAA is going to allow student athletes to bet on professional sports. Just from the Big Sky perspective and from your perspective as an athletic director in charge of 250 athletes, where are you on this whole thing?
I personally don't believe young people should be allowed to bet on anything, particular athletes. I think it puts them at risk. You're in the training room, even though you're not betting on sports. I mean, at one point we discussed, should athletes be able to bet on any sport but their own? But we deduced as a committee at the NCAA that, there's other kids in the locker room. Gambling is a big problem in this country. You would be blown away by the number of people that gamble on Big Sky athletics, but in particular Idaho. And I think you have some interesting facts that we were just talking about earlier. But this goes back to when I was at Wisconsin and I was teaching. I worked half-time in rec sports, and I had in charge of all the basketball club sport. So I hired a bunch of young people, particularly men, to officiate for me. Every single one of those kids had gambling problems. They're gambling in the dorm. They're doing all these things. They're going to casinos. There's a lot of casinos in Wisconsin. And the NCAA, it has not passed yet. It has to go to all 3 divisions as to whether or not pro sports would be legal. But the one way I look at it is a lot of kids now, particularly at the bigger schools, are getting in discretionary money. So what do you think is going to happen? And we've had several people come in and speak about gambling issues that they had. I had a gentleman that talked about, the mob. I was being hunted by the mob. Well, then he turned, things into the FBI, and then he was protected and blah, blah, blah. But the stories are unbelievable. You lose your family. You lose your friends. It's unreal. I just don't think it should be legal.
And that is the Division I area has passed the student athletes can wager on professional sports, but at D2 and D3, if you had to chime in on that. I know that there are safeguards taken every year by every university where, the student athletes are made well aware that, if you do, some of the bigger scandals on college campuses where guys were ineligible was guys and gals, an NCAA tournament pool.
Who doesn't fill out when I mean, the lady or the man in your office who doesn't know anything about and doesn't know if a basketball is stuffed or pumped, I mean, is filling out an NCAA bracket, and now you tell college kids you can't do that. But now it's such a gray area, and we're seeing the issues with pro sports. Pro sports loves the money from the gambling people, and you can go on any legitimate website, ESPN, pick whatever, Fox Sports, CBS Sports, NBC Sports, and you can find lines to every game. It's just it's out there, and once we let the cat out of the bag, we can't get it back in.
I agree. Well, and just so you know, it's not just athletes. None of us connected to athletics, including our president, can gamble. Anybody in our department. And it was just Division I cabinet that passed it. I voted no, but it went forward. So the whole Division I still has to look at it.
Okay, so we're early. We're early in that process.
Right.
Well, I don't think. I mean, it's going to happen because it always happens. Somebody does something that there was a thing at Iowa and Iowa State 2 years ago that they had players that were declared ineligible. It's going to happen, but to open the doors is wild. I mean, if you live in Spokane, which is, for those of you who don't know, Coeur d'Alene is 30 miles away. Moscow is an hour and a half drive, if you will. There's 2 sports books at the Native American casinos, and you can go in and wager on any college team you want, with the exception of the ones that are in the state of Washington. Now, Idaho has no legalized sports betting, and I don't know where the state of Idaho is on that. But in Washington, you live, if you're an Idaho Vandal alum, you live in Spokane, you can bet on Idaho. If you live in Coeur d'Alene, you can make the short drive to Spokane, you can bet on Idaho. Here you can drive up, bet on Idaho, but you can't bet on Washington State, which I find it kind of ironic. If you live in Spokane, the University of Idaho and the University of Montana are closer than Washington, the University of Washington in Seattle. You can bet on the team further away than you can. I mean, you have to put some regulations, I guess, if you're a state in making those wagers. But who's to say that doesn't end? Or who's to say the state of Idaho doesn't put in legalized gambling?
True, yeah. You never know nowadays where things are going.
No, and you know what? And every time you think something is going to happen, this is what's going to happen, it doesn't anymore. Or there's something else popping up. The other thing that I get, and I will tell you, sometimes I know who's going to play before it's made public. And if somebody asks me if somebody is going to play, and I don't know who they are and I don't know what purposes, I say I don't know, and I'm not going to tell you, because I'm not going to. I have the coaches allow me to know, so it makes my preparation for a game easier, and we have things that we can talk about, so we're not surprised. But if somebody wants that information, I don't know what they're going to do with that information.
Sure. Confidentiality factor. That's why we do have a company that works for the Big Sky for all of us that monitors the line. And for one of the earlier football games this year, I got contacted by our Big Sky deputy, said, "Hey, Terry, have you heard anything of why this line might have changed? Is there any chatter going on?" So they're monitoring those things. So we just have to be cautious. And also, I do want to say that a lot of institutions are doing a lot of educating, whether we bring someone in and talk about it. The student athletes that were in the room when we made the decision at D1 cabinet, they were saying that they felt if there wasn't a punishment, then folks that would have gambling problems might be more willing to reach out for help. I don't really see that to be true, but that was what their take was.
Yeah. The other thing that is people are talking about is opting in, opting out. Can you explain what opting in or opting out is for? What is if I decide to opt in or I decide to opt out? What am I opting into or out of?
It's a complicated topic. I'll do my best.
Okay.
So opting in would mean that an institution would be able to have the opportunity to support their student athletes, not just with scholarships, and in particular new scholarships that would count towards the $20.5 million cap. The cap system is an attempt to add some type of a sensibility, if you will, or equity across the schools. But on top of the new scholarship numbers, you don't have to count your old, you could give revenue sharing dollars to student athletes. Now, mind you, there's a lot of discussion and a lot of misunderstanding about Title IX, and I'm a Title IX supporter, have been all my life, follow the rules. I believe Title IX would apply in those particular instances. Now, what is the specific numbers? Because your quarterback, who's going to be on national TV, yeah, that particular person is probably going to have more social media hits or whatever you want to call it. So opting in would grant you that opportunity to be able to pay directly, write a check, if you will, to your student athletes. Now, how you do that when they're not employees, you have to work that through your campus. There's a lot of legal things behind all of these things that are going on. And it's monitored by the cap system, which costs money. So if you're going to opt in, one, you need to have the money to spend to revenue share. Two, you need to have the money to spend on the system itself and any other legal things that you need to have going into how you're going to operate this system. You're probably going to you're seeing a lot of people hiring these general managers. Mm-hmm. Yeah, paying a lot of money for that. So you're going to have staff. You're going to have the ability to monetize this particular thing. So how are you going to do all that? So it's really complicated. And the other thing, if you opt in, there's not scholarship limits. I put it in quotes. There's roster limits. Mm-hmm. So there's some sports that would have a reduction in the number of people they're carrying on the team. Football. Most football programs carry 118, 126. If you're Nebraska, 250 or whatever they carry. They're going to have to cut down to 105. So 105 would be the football number. There's also some sports that you could go up a higher number. So track, I believe, goes up to 45. Well, right now, the track scholarship limit is 12.5 that you spread out. So, and there's no more head count sports. You could use it as an equivalency. So whether you're opted in or not, you get to use equivalency now. So for an institution like ours, right now, we don't have revenue to share. We still are trying to use the revenue we gain by paying the bills, so to speak. We have an unendorsed collective that's been helping us. The reason they're unendorsed is Title IX does not apply. What gets difficult for collectives now is it's specified that it's not like people can just donate money to a collective and you can pay a student athlete. It has to be donated by a company or an individual that wants to have an athlete provide services, i.e. marketing. So that gets a little complicated. So all this is like moving and morphing, if you will. So we've chosen to opt out. We're watching what's going on. We're analyzing it. You know, we right now we don't have the money internally to rev share, but we also don't have the money to pay the bills to opt in. But we're working on what would the future look like here for Vandal Athletics? What are some of the things that we should do? So,
is there a deadline to opt in and opt out? And then my second question is, if you opt in a year later, can you opt out? Yep. Or if you can, can you change that from year to year?
You can go back and forth. What you have to be really perceptive of, and the opt-in date that you declare that you want to opt in for the next year is March 1st. But the sports that are going to be affected that you have to cut the rosters back, for us it would be soccer, women's swimming, and football. We'd lose about 30 walk-on kids. Well, 30 walk-on kids that are paying full freight to the university, that's quite the monetary, situation that you'd be in. So, it's very difficult to stay up with everything that's going on and be at your best, if you will. But we're working through it.
It's almost you're damned if you do, but you're damned if you don't.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. That's what I feel like every day.
Whatever decision you make is right for somebody, but it's wrong for somebody else.
Yeah, and there's a lot of my colleagues, not just Big Sky folks that I've talked to, well, we're going to opt in just because. I'm like, because why? Well, just the optics. We want to be able to say we're opted in. I don't operate that way.
Right.
If I'm going to do it, I'm going to go all the way in, right? I'm not going to just say, well, we just did it, because to me, that's wasteful dollars.
It's funny because to me, the Alabamas, the Penn States, the Ohio States, the USCs, they live in a different world. Hell, they live in a different galaxy. I mean, it's than places like in the Big Sky Conference. So just because the big schools are opting in doesn't necessarily mean it's the right thing to do for a Big Sky Conference school or a mid-major school.
Agree. If you want to take a look at a program, and I haven't really read the documents thoroughly, but Kentucky, for basketball in particular, but they're opted in, but they also have collective money. They're in Lexington. They can get a lot of people that their student athletes are doing business advertising for. So to me, if you're going to do it, it's great if you're in a bigger area and you can do both, because then any of that legitimate business advertising, so to speak, doesn't count towards your cap. So you're going to see institutions in those bigger cities doing both. And it's an ungodly amount of money that's going to be made by these young people. And you know what? Why not use it to gamble on pro sports, I guess, if you want to look at it that way.
To me, the first thing I heard about this when they said they're going to pay athletes, with a collective, even with like a business, you come down, hey, Bob's Used Cars, I'm Billy Bob Jones from the football team, come on down and get your car here. Here's $500, here's $1,000. Title IX was put into place for equity between men's and women's sports, okay? Same number of scholarships, same number of opportunities, travel's the same, those kind of things. How is this not a Title IX violation?
I think one of the things that drives the difference in this particular case is if you're a really, really good social influencer, which you've seen some women, Caitlin Clark, gymnastics at LSU, I think it was, or any other spot, they've...
The twins that played basketball at Miami, I think.
Exactly.
They got almost, I think they got 7 figures each. So.
Right. So it's not just, my opinion, not just because you wear the uniform, it's wear the uniform and be creative. So it just so happens that tomorrow night we're going to bring in, we've been working with some companies right now. We have young people through our department and through some companies that you can go in and buy their jersey with the name on it. Well, the kids get the money, part of the money. So you can be doing all those things and collectively, if you will, add it up and make quite a good pot of money for yourself. Just be an influencer.
Yeah. And I think people have less of a problem with that than they do with just,
here's a check.
Here's a bag of cash. Thanks for coming and enjoy your year on the football team, the basketball team, whatever. So every time I talk to you on the podcast, it's just the rules keep changing. I don't know how anybody in your chair can make plans, and I know you guys are 2 years out, 5. I mean, every university has a 1-year plan, a 2-year plan, a 5-year plan, and you as an athletic director, I don't want to say can't do it, but I'm surprised you don't have a dumpster outside your window for all your plans you've had to throw out.
Well, I kind of flush them pretty quick, so to speak. I'm a big future looker, and I do not like unintended consequences. So I was thinking driving in, because I knew we were going to speak, I don't think people realize that a lot of times it's about timing. So you might want to think of it this way. Yeah, well, we should just opt in because everybody else is doing it, and that way we can say it. Fear of missing out, FOMO's been a thing. I'm going to sit back and watch, and then I'm going to determine what's going to be best as we watch this occur. And is there another way to work the problem? Maybe there's a different way that you don't have to pay certain outside companies. Maybe you can find certain niches, so to speak, that we could do, and we could do it better. So that's what I'm always looking for. So, yes, things are changing. Things are changing fast. But I don't think you just jump on board just because.
Before I let you go, basketball starts Monday for both the men's and women's teams. Both these teams expected to have good, if not great, seasons.
Knock on wood.
Knock on wood. I'm hitting my head as Terry's knocking on the table because that's her. Mine's on my top of my head. How excited are you for basketball with the expectations that not just on this campus, but in the conference and certainly in the region have for both of your men's and women's basketball teams?
I'm really, really excited, not only for that in particular, but for our coaches, young coaches, 2 young coaches, great people, and our student athletes. And we're going to go 8 miles. It's a double header, if you will,
right.
Although I believe the women are at noon and the men are
I think it's a noon and I haven't looked at the schedule. And the men are at 6:30, I think. So it's a double header, but it's a split ticket. Mm-hmm. So you got to buy 2 tickets to see both teams play. Right.
So I can't wait. I can't wait to get over. We had a great event down in Boise.
Yep.
Where the men were doing an exhibition with Boise State. I was not able to come to the women's first event here, so I'm really, really excited for the coaches and the student athletes, and seeing how far we can take it, staying healthy the whole year. That's what my goal is.
Knocking on my head again here. We appreciate the time. Thanks so much. I always look forward to our discussions, and we'll get you back on in the month of December. Thanks for being with us.
Sounds great. Go Vandals.
Today's Idaho Vandal Insider podcast is presented by Inland Orthopedic Surgery and Sports Medicine Clinic of Moscow and Pullman. As the Vandals team physician, orthopedic surgeon Dr. Matt Taylor cares for elite athletes, weekend warriors, and everyone in between. Let the team that takes care of the Vandals take care of you. Welcome back to the Idaho Vandal Insider podcast. We are now joined by senior Sarah Brans joins us. How are you?
I'm good.
I honest answer.
Yes, honest answer. I'm doing good.
No. Honest answer to this next question.
Oh, gotcha.
Are you tired of practice? Is it time to play a game?
Yes. Practice at this point definitely just feels monotonous. You can't help it. I mean, you're doing similar to the same thing every day. We're playing against each other every day, which is fun, but we're ready to see somebody new.
You understand, you played it long, you're playing at a high level. You understand that practice is important. I don't think that's a debate. But at some point in time, players have passed it's important now, we need to play, where coaches are like, I've known some coaches that if they had another 100 practices before they played whatever sport they were doing, it'd be fine.
Yeah, they'd be happy. Yeah, I mean, practice is 100% important. You can't be prepared for games if you're not working your butt off in practice every day and have a good amount of time to prepare. But at the same time, playing against the same people, doing the same thing, you can only learn so many new things playing against the same players every day.
So do you think it's because coaches have complete control in practices and really don't have a lot of control in games?
Yeah, I mean, it's also the fact that you can prepare for an infinite amount of situations and you'll never be able to prepare for situations that you'll go through in the game. So the more you prep, outside of games, the more you are prepared for games. It's just kind of the way it goes. But at the same time, only a game will prep you like a game.
Yeah. Is there a different feeling for you before you play the first game? Because you play your first game Monday afternoon in Pullman against Washington State. Is there a different feel for the first game than maybe all the rest, with the exception of maybe if it's a chance to be the last game?
Yeah, the first game, there's always a little bit of nerves, getting your feet under you. It's your first time playing an official game with a new team, and it's been a while since you obviously played your last game. So there's definitely the excited nerves to get back on the court, but I don't know. Once you settle in, I feel like it's the same. And especially being my senior year, I feel like I'm just going to be excited to get on the court all games this year.
Well, I was going to ask you that. How different is it now knowing that this is your last kick at the can?
I honestly have been trying not to think about it. There's little moments where I'm like, okay, this is the last time I'm going to be doing this, which is sad, obviously, but it's exciting too to have the opportunity to come back with the same group, or the same group of coaches, I should say, the same school, and just building off of what we had last year, and it's an exciting feeling.
On the highway of your senior year, the light at the end of the tunnel is a pinhole right now.
Yes.
So it really is hard to say, okay, this is it. This will be my last no, this won't be my last. I'm going to do that next week and the week after, the week after, the week after. This is my last road trip. No, it's not my last road trip. I mean, all of those things. But has it gone? I mean, because there wasn't even a pinhole at the end of the tunnel when you got here. Has it gone fast for you?
Yes, it's definitely, I say this all the time, it's like each day feels long, but all the weeks and months by the end of season go by so fast. Like, I can't believe that it's already been 3 years and I only have 1 year left. And it's hard not to get a little sentimental, but it's exciting. Yeah.
What's your life been like here with all the coaching changes?
It's been insane. And it's been fun in a lot of ways, and I've grown in a lot of ways that I wouldn't have been able to if I didn't go through that. And I'm really grateful that I got the opportunity to learn from a lot of different people, go through a lot of very different experiences every year. I said this to Arthur a lot. Like, this year in some ways is like my sophomore year. It's like my first year kind of really feeling like I get to grow off of the year before. But it's been good, and I wouldn't change how it went at all.
Has Idaho been a good place for Sarah, not the basketball player?
I think so. It's very different from where I've grown up my whole life, which is kind of what I wanted out of school, like 4 years to experience something new, meet new people. And one of the big things that I say all the time that made me commit here was just the community and the atmosphere here. And I definitely do feel like it's the first thing I say when people come here that is a draw and something completely unique to the place that really made me fall in love with it. And the people that I've met and the connections that I've made here go way beyond basketball. And they're like relationships that I'll have for the rest of my life.
And I think for some fans, they don't get that aspect because they didn't have basketball in their lives in college as a player, so they had it as a fan. They're still a fan, but I always say that an athlete's college experience is different than a normal student's college experience because it's almost like you're doing two things at the same time. You're going to school and you're playing a sport, which is something a lot of people that don't do. Did that make it easier for you to be able to do both?
I think so, and I also think being here for 4 years really made a difference. Like, these past couple years, I've been able to build a lot of strong relationships, not only through basketball, which are really sisterhood because we're around each other all the time, but I've been able to build like sisterhood and really strong relationships outside of basketball too, which are, again, friendships that I'll take for the rest of my life. And I feel like especially now with transferring and like moving different places, that doesn't happen all the time. So it's something I definitely don't take for granted. I'm really grateful for.
When somebody graduates from the University of Idaho, are you graduating in the spring?
Yes.
Okay, so when basketball's over, school's over, I mean, it's the whole thanks for playing, you're done, you don't have to stay here anymore. What do you think Moscow is going to mean to you when somebody says, hey, tell me about Moscow?
Moscow's always going to hold a special place in my heart, not only for, like I said, like the relationships and everything that I've built and that it's so different from home, but it really is like a home away from home for me now. And being here for 4 years and living in town and just being able to walk through town and say hi to everybody and just feel like I'm part of such a special community will always mean something to me.
You grew up in the Bay Area,
yes.
The San Francisco Bay Area, where there's a lot of people.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people. There's not a lot of people here in Moscow, and if there are too many people in Moscow, you only have to drive 5 miles in any direction, and there are no people here.
For sure.
What do you think being here for 4 years will affect how you do things that maybe you don't think you would have had that effect had you not come here?
Yeah, I mean, being such a small town, I do feel like everyone kind of knows everyone, and you definitely take a lot of pride in the way you go about things, especially being a student athlete, because you know you're a reflection of not only yourself, but the team and the community and the town and what the university means to people. And it just makes me go about things with a lot of purpose and intention, and that's something that I always want to take away with everything that I do, is doing things with intention and grace and wanting to show the best side of myself.
Do people, now that you've been here for 4 years and you have a face, I mean, you're 6'1". Okay, there are not a lot of 6'1" women in Moscow.
Yeah.
Are people still ask you, do you play basketball, or has that kind of died down because you are in the community?
Yeah, it has died down a little bit, I would say. I always do get the, oh, do you play basketball or volleyball, as soon as they see that I'm a tall girl. But it's fun. I feel like I know a lot of people in the community, and I'll walk downtown. And I mean, I felt like this my freshman year. My family came and visited, and we were out to breakfast, and some random family next to me was like, great game last night, and like started having just a conversation about how the game went. And again, that's something that's so unique to Moscow in this community that you can't really get anywhere else.
I don't know how that affected you, but as a dad who sent a daughter to college who didn't play athletics, if somebody is relating to my daughter on a personal level that I don't know like that, that makes me feel like I've sent my daughter to the right place. Did your parents react that way, do you think?
For sure. That was the first trip that they'd come on to visit with me besides my like official visit for basketball. And I had multiple conversations with them, and immediately it was like, oh, this is a right place. This is a safe town, a community where everyone is super supportive and will surround my daughter with good support. And it's the story that we go back to all the time whenever anyone asks about Idaho and the community. That is always the first thing I say, and it's just a perfect example of this community.
So when they bring a recruit, do you always get the recruits when you come? Because your story is so great. I mean, because you stayed through you stayed for other reasons than just basketball.
Yeah. They always want me to talk to the recruits, especially being the only player who's been here for 4 years and being able to have experiences built up, again, through different coaching staff, so it reflects more than just basketball. And that is, again, always a story that I bring up, and just talking about all the relationships and things I've been able to do outside of basketball that really make the college experience what it is, because we're not going to have basketball forever.
Yeah, well, that's my next question, Sarah, is when you come as a freshman, 4 years is an eternity. You're thinking basketball is going to be around forever. This is it. I mean, you got less than a calendar year to go. Whenever basketball is over, what do you want to do? Where are you headed now?
Yeah, so it's been a kind of up and down. I mean, I've always wanted to do something to help people, and in the place in my life right now, I really want to be a physical therapist, hopefully doing something in sports, but hopefully continue to play for another year, and then I'll still have more school, go to grad school, and then move back closer to family, hopefully, and just continue building my life.
Yeah, it's always a crossroads. Doesn't matter if you're an athlete or not. When you get to the end, now it's like, oh, I got to be an adult.
I have to be in the real world.
Yeah, I got to figure this out. So, why a therapist? What happened? I mean, where did that light switch go off for you?
Yeah, my mom's a physical therapist, so I learned a lot from her, but I was always the young kid. I wanted to be an athletic trainer when I was younger, because I was always the kid helping my teammates stretch, or someone would get a cramp and I'd run over and like massage out their leg. And then as I got older, I mean, I've always wanted to just do something to help people. I feel like that's very rewarding. And as someone who's gone through a lot of personal like injuries or dealt with things with my health, I've had a lot of experience with physical therapists and people in the medical field, and the impact that it made on me is something that I really want to give back to other people.
Can you tape an ankle?
I can tape an ankle. I can tape a mean ankle. I actually taped my own ankles in high school.
No!
I did.
How did you do that?
A lot of interesting feet positioning.
You have to be flexible to be able to do that. I don't think that. Wow, that's that's pretty. Can you tape a knee?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what it is, and I would want to make sure I'm doing it the way that would be beneficial to them. But
well, see, you're already a step ahead of everybody else then.
I try.
We we appreciate it. Good luck on the rest of the season. I mean, you guys are people are picking you to go to the NCAA tournament. How does that make you feel? Because I know it drives your coach crazy, but I want to know how you guys feel about it.
I mean, it's exciting. We honestly try not to listen to the polls, because it really doesn't mean a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. We just take it day by day, but looking at how competitive we are of a group again, just like last year, and how much talent we have, it's really exciting, and I really do think we can do very well. So it is exciting to see other people be excited about us too.
So great to visit with you again. Thanks for being on our podcast. We appreciate it. Good luck the rest of the way, and good luck in Pullman on Monday.
Yes, thank you.
This Idaho Vandal Insider podcast is presented by Inland Orthopedic Surgery and Sports Medicine Clinic of Moscow and Pullman. When he's not caring for the Vandals as team physician, orthopedic surgeon Dr. Matt Taylor provides the same MVP orthopedic care to our entire region. At Inland Orthopedics, our team is your team. Welcome back to the Idaho Vandal Insider Podcast. We are now joined by the first coach that will be heading to the postseason from the University of Idaho. That's women's soccer. It's head coach Jeremy Clevenger. Thanks for being here. How are you?
Doing great. Ready for a fun tournament.
I talked to you as the season was beginning. Are you happy with what has happened to your team to get them into this tournament at this point in time?
Yeah, there's a lot of positives. You know, anytime you make the tournament, only 6 go. And we kind of had that confirmation. Before our game on Sunday, which is nice when you kind of have a game in hand and you already made it. Which is so a lot of positives in our work and our body, but also I think we left some games on the table. You know, I think we were. We had goals against 1-goal leads against Portland State and Northern Colorado, and if we would have finished those games out, we would have been playing for Sunday for a co-championship. as weird as it sounds, so that's kind of a little disappointing in some aspects of it, but really proud for our players to put themselves in that position and have these opportunities. 8
ties on the season, 4 ties out of your 8 conference games. It's unusual to have 8 ties on a season. Was it something that was happening, or is it just that the way the results were coming?
Yeah, I just think the way results were coming, different ways. Obviously had several ties in the regular season and then, carried over to – and it's more natural I feel like in conference because, games get a little tighter and closer and ties are a little more common in conference. But, yeah, we've had a lot of ties, so the good news is there's no more ties in the conference tournament. We do have overtime now, and then obviously, PKs. No one wants PKs, but there's a way to advance. So that's something we'll be able to go forward on.
If the conference talked about playing overtime in the regular season during conference games, would you be for that, or is it like one of those things we got to be careful? Because we play 2 games in 3 days? Yeah,
that's the so in the conference we used to have overtime, and they looked at it as a study, and what they found was some of these games that went out to overtime, they have I think 25% of those games there was a result in it, so those other tied, and then it was just putting a lot of minutes and extra wear and tear on players' bodies, so they went away with the overtime for regular season, and then they obviously bring it back for tournament play.
You're the 5th seed. You play Portland State in the first round, but the interesting thing is you have a week off. I mean, there's no games this week. How important is that for you to make sure you get ready for the tournament, but also at the same time make sure that you guys are 100% for the first game that on a week from today?
Yeah, it's always tricky. I always found it in the past that the trickiest part was when because the last 3 years we've had a bye, and which you want to buy, but you kind of you haven't played for almost 2 weeks, and then you come in and you play a team that just got done playing. So it's very tricky to navigate. Now we're in the quarterfinals, so we're both on the same plane. I think it's gonna be good for us, just to kind of refresh, reboot, take a breather, and then kind of get back up and ramped up for the tournament. So we'll like let them rest, let the bodies heal, and then hit the reset button and see if we can win a championship.
You've won this thing before. You've come up so close and come up empty other times. What's the key to winning this? Because this is, one team for the Big Sky is going to the NCAA tournament, and the 5 other teams that are going to Missoula for this postseason are going to be done.
Yeah, I think it comes from as much as coaches, you want to have an impact. Obviously, we do, and we prepare and things like that. But you need to really get the team mind right? They need to be all on the same page. Hey, we're going here to win. We're going to the tournament with one goal in mind and one purpose. And so getting the whole group together and making sure, they know the roles and responsibilities and our objectives is going to be very important.
What are you guys doing well right now that gives you optimism of getting to the tournament?
Yeah, no, we're playing really well. I think yesterday's game or Sunday's game against NAU was one of the games ball didn't bounce our way. But we've been playing well. We've been moving the ball. We've been creating a lot of chances. Still our defense is really good. So it's just I think we're playing really well. We just need to, have it go our way and like I said, regroup and I think we'll be fine.
Is there something you need to see out of your team just a little bit more?
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, we just want them. I want that confidence, right? I want them to be fully confident going into the tournament, feeling good about themselves, feeling like they can win this thing. I think each player position is going to have a little different roles. I want our forwards be confident in striking the ball, and goal scorers and midfielders and connecting passes and help us get in the final third, and then our defense just confidence in their 1v1 defending. So it'll be a individual thing, but it'll also be a team and just having that kind of belief and confidence that they can come into this thing and win it.
Sometimes the venue can dictate what teams can and can't do. How's the pitch in Missoula? Is it something that leads itself to be equal for everybody?
Yeah, it's always tricky. It's a nice field, and they've done a good job. I haven't been there this year, but last year we were there. The field was in good shape. But it's in Missoula, right? And you don't know. I haven't looked at the weather report yet, but. If there's potential for snow, rain, and things like that. I remember last year for the championship game, we called we had no rain in the forecast, and it rained during that day, and it made the pitch very slippery and the ball was skipping. So those elements are, part of it, right? That's part of playing in this in November, it's more of a privilege to have that opportunity.
Physically is one thing before you go into a win or our season's over kind of a game. How is this team mentally right now, do you think?
Yeah, no, they're in a good spot. I think, like I said, a long but short conference season, and things like that. So I think it's going to be good for them just to take a breather. We're in, right? Now let's get our minds right to really tackle this thing. So I think they're in a good spot. I think this week's going to be good for them to reboot, and excited to kind of get back at it here in a couple of days.
What are you doing this week? I mean, you talked about rebooting, and you can't just not do anything because you lose your win, you lose your peak performance. So what are you doing?
Yeah, so we'll give them a couple of days off, and that's always nice, and then we'll get back together, and we'll I want to mainly, when we get back going, I want them to, we're going to have a lot of fun, right? We're going to have the energy, high energy, doing fun things at practice, just to kind of get that excitement up. And then we'll once we get that excitement up, we'll kind of dive into, the tactics, and here's some things we want to really work on and exploit and kind of sharpen up for Wednesday's game.
We appreciate the time. It's always great to visit with you.
Always great to be here.
Good luck this weekend, and if you come home with a championship, we'll get you back on before the NCAA tournament. Jeremy Clevenger, the head coach of women's soccer here at the University of Idaho, joining us on the Idaho Vandal Insider Podcast. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
That's going to do it for this week's Idaho Vandal Insider Podcast. Thanks to all of our guests who joined us. Don't forget to join us each Tuesday night for more Vandals talk from the Idaho Vandals Coaches Show, live from 42 Bar Kitchen, 7 Pacific, 8 o'clock Mountain Time on the Idaho Vandals Radio Network. I'm Dennis Patchin saying thanks for listening. We'll see you next week for another edition of the Idaho Vandal Insider Podcast.
This has been the Vandal Insider Podcast, presented by Inland Orthopedic Surgery and Sports Medicine Clinic of Moscow and Pullman. Let the team that takes care of the Vandals take care of you. Get the latest information on University of Idaho athletics you won't find anywhere else with the Vandal Insider Podcast. From in-depth conversations to game previews, the Vandal Insider is every fan's source for all things Idaho athletics.